What if I told you the most powerful stories are the ones that don't say a word? That sometimes silence screams louder than dialogue. There's a particular genre of game that follows a strategy, but don't really get a lot of attention because of how linear and lack of action it contains. It's often nicknamed walking simulator games. They come from a branch of adventure games, and their sole purpose is to deliver a story to an audience with extreme minimal mechanics involved, meant more for audience that just wants to relax and enjoy a game without having to worry about defeating enemies or solving complex puzzles or gripping your heart, ready for some sort of jump scare to happen. In a way, these games also try to relate the experience to our current world situations, and sometimes it just hits hard. Games like Inside and Journey are some of the few that stand out while talking about striking visuals and deep stories to convey to the audience, and this game also falls in that category. Far Loan Sales, an indie project made by an indie company in Switzerland called Okomotive AG, with the team barely reaching 10 members during its creation, and was the first game ever published. But despite winning several recognitions and receiving many honorable mentions, not a lot of people seem to talk about it. So, in this video, we'll be delving deeper and finding the true meaning of Far Loan Sales and see how it relates to us in a way we never thought of. This game's story is pretty straightforward. You play as Lone. I'm not kidding, that's the actual name of the character that you'll be playing as. Her full name is Lone Henriksen. In the digital art book, which I highly recommend you guys getting, as the art concepts here are amazing to look at. She was much more detailed compared to what you see in the game, having her whole face modeled done for her, but in the game, she only appears as a silhouette. No face, no distinguished structure, just a little girl in a red outfit which stands out in contrast to the world that is mostly black and white, with hints of red shades here and there, symbolizing how in this world no one cares about how you look or how you speak, but rather what your features are that stands from the rest. Like this little girl, despite how tiny she looks compared to everything else around her, her distinguished red outfit makes her stand out. Similarly is how our attitude does to others, and that's what makes you unique. Currently, she's the last person on this land. We don't know what her end goal is, but we only know one thing. Keep moving forward till we can't no more, and hope that you find something that you could help us on our journey. With the game description being this bland, it makes anyone think that there's going to be another boring walking simulator. But trust me, there's a lot of hidden meaning to this. At the start, Lone is seen mourning for someone, possibly her dad, but just as we want to stay back and continue mourning for him, it won't make you feel any better. In life, we often lose something, and staying back just doesn't help us or makes us feel better in any way. We only have to keep moving forward no matter what, or we'll be stuck in an endless time loop, depression, and anxiety. As you move ahead, the basic controls are taught. Arrows to make your characters move left, right, up, and down respectively, and controls to hold or leave items, zoom in and out of loan, and that's pretty much it. We enter our home and we get to see her dad as an inventor, creating this huge machine that we see his blueprint on the wall. And along with her dad is another man, who is his brother. They are the Hendrickson brothers, responsible for creating these huge machines, and the one which we are having in possession of is the Okomotive, their first vehicle developed by them, and we get to have control of it. Before we enter the machine, a small rock with the painting appears briefly, showing the sun and the sea slowly receding, indicating that at some point the sun has gotten too hot to an extent that it started evaporating the sea and left us with a barren desert with only traces of sea ever existing, with abandoned boats, puddles of water, and a vast space of emptiness showing that there once was water. Now there's little that remains. After setting up a few things, we then set sail into the unknown, or what remains of it. There's something that we can relate as well, leaving our place of comfort and onwards with our journey. We feel uncomfortable leaving behind something we grew up with, but the more we stay back, the more we won't develop as a person. No matter how cruel the world is, and no matter how much we hate having to explore things for ourselves, this is what it all boils down to: taking the path that only you know what is best for yourself. When journeying, we can understand the core mechanics of the machine. It runs on scrap that you'll find plentiful across this desert ridden place, or in some worn down shacks that you can occasionally make stops at, ranging from small ones that fill a small amount of fuel to large barrels that instantly fill up your fuel meter to its highest. There are even explosive barrels that do fill up the fuel, but at the cost of damaging your equipment, which I won't recommend as there are plenty of them to be used in place of it. Occasionally, your Okamoto will build up steam, which acts as a boost when you release it, but holding it too long will cause engine damage to the engine, causing it to catch fire, which will be detrimental as at the early stages you won't have the right attachments to put to it, so it's best to avoid these things as much as possible. Later on, progressing, we start unlocking some useful attachments from these abandoned houses, starting with the sail, which uses wind to help yourself move forward instead of fuel, saving you a great amount of time from running around and collecting scraps. Still, the same sail can do the exact opposite when you open it during moments when the wind is blowing in the opposite direction. Going further, we see how horrible the dryad has become. Once what was a massive sea, now nothing but sand all over, with only a few seagulls to indicate that there was ever a sea in the first place. Massive ships now stuck like it's a scrapyard, and containers scattered all over the place. While it's still odd that we don't see any dead fishes in the area, my theory is that the seagulls and any other remaining animals that managed to survive had consumed them all. It was so severe that even the bones of it were consumed just for survival, but they could have also migrated to other places with more water instead. We see more ships, with some even more deteriorating, and the presence of large holes in the hull. It's eerie to some extent, knowing that you're the only one alive and you're now surrounded by deteriorating piles of metal. As we progress, we are soon hit by a thunderstorm, which causes a fire and introduces to the safety mechanisms, like the extinguisher that helps put out fire, but it uses fuel, so your best bet is to avoid as many issues as possible. This can reflect upon the journey about our daily lives as well, where we know how to handle situations, but it comes at the cost of draining our energy and leaving us burnt out by the end of it. It's shocking to see how close we can relate to a machine that has no soul. The rain pattering down, only being able to fill a minuscule amount of water to once what stood as a vast sea, and once done, we are met with an absolute silence. Even what little was filled was soon dried up, leaving us with, once again, a barren land of nothing, with just ourselves and our machine. No music, no wreckage, nothing. Just sounds of your machines to accompany you once you are on, and once you zoom out, will instantly be drowned by the silence. Because of no pollution, we get to see the stars, which further shows how lonely you are on your journey. No friends, no family, just you and your voyage to God knows where. We unlock the wielder, which gives the ability to repair any equipment that is damaged during our journey, which is crucial during the later stages of the game. Further ahead, we get to repair radio tower, but that doesn't change anything. You can't use it to help or broadcast an SOS, but hey, at least there's some nice music to play on it. Slowly as the sun rises, giving us a wonderful sight to see. Windmills still operating, generating power to a dead city present nearby, which is akin to countryside, where some animals have somehow managed to survive but are grazing at literally nothing. Only time can tell how long they will survive in such conditions, where food and water are scarce. You find the place named to be the Blue Isles, which was supposed to be a retreat area from the bustling city and industry life to a more calming pace. Now it's devoid of it with only abandoned houses, making it look like a failed project on expansion. We escalate above to get a hold of the auto picker, which, as the name suggests, picks up scrap automatically, making our journey a bit easier as we don't have to keep stopping and collecting them on our own. We can see the town itself, and it does speak volumes. Hard to imagine what truly happened to a point where now it's become a ghost town with no signs of life ever existing in the first place. Later on, when unlocking the gate, our vehicle slips away as we are trapped in a mouse wheel. Freeing ourselves and running back to our machine, we are soon chased by a tornado. For this brief moment, we have to survive without our machine. Shows how much reliant we have become towards it, where even being away from it for a short amount of time is detrimental to us, making us panic if we would ever make it or not. Further, as we reach the depths of a non existing ocean, which can be proven by the submarines and shrunken ships in a much worse conditions that we once saw earlier. Later on, we get stuck, causing a wheel to get damaged, and while we can get out of it using the winch, the wheel needs replacement, which we can find not too far from this place. But before that, we get to pass through a factory that we believe to be that of Hendrickson's, hinted by the billboard on the machine that seems to have taken inspiration from the locomotive but made into a much larger scale. After crossing the small lake, we finally get a new set of wheels, making the automotive more efficient and faster than ever. As we slowly progress further, we see puddles of water slowly taking form, giving us hope that there is a place that does have a balanced ecosystem for us to stay, which I believe has always been the objectives at the start, to find a nice place to settle, away from the desert barren place that once was called home. But as we travel further, we approach a hard section, a place that is covered in hailstorm, which is a phenomenon where both rock ice and rainwater fall at the same time. This causes huge damage to the locomotive, and the only way to counter it is by taking shelter in the remains of the old ones, repairing and setting off once again, and repeating the cycle till it's all over. Once again, we're greeted with lonely nights, but because we were so occupied with handling our machine, we never really stopped to notice that we still had and still have no one by our side, showing how time flies when you're dedicated to yourself and eliminates all forms of boredoms and depressions at best. Later on, we traverse through a thin layer of snow, and soon after, we arrive underneath a large machine that we can enter in. The machine is called the Opidumotive. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that name. I apologize for that. And going to the higher levels, we see the involvement of the Hendrickson brothers and their innovations, starting with the locomotive and advancing through till the latest creation which we have now. Once we get into the machine running, we can see truly how large it is, making our automotive look like an ant in comparison, accompanied by this dramatic music, which is something I'd like to talk about for some time. The music selection is pretty insane, perfectly fitting the theme of this setting. It's silent when it needs to, capturing the loneliness of the environment. It plays dramatically when it has to, showing how the insane progress that you made throughout the journey, and a calm, soothing music once you survive a dramatic event like a hailstorm or a tornado. It's not memorable by any means, but it truly fits well with the settings, making you feel calm when needed or filled with adrenaline when needed. It's fascinating, to say the least, how a team this small could make such amazing soundtrack for a game as minimalistic as this. Soon after, we are met with another long journey, but not before a volcano starts erupting now, and it's a race against time. Your machine at full throttle versus the ashes of the volcano that can now cause serious damage if you don't avoid it on time. Luckily, we do, but our locomotive torn in two, but we have to somehow keep going forward. We can't let something like this stop us from reaching our destination, which we do by using the sails. The more we push it, the slower it goes because it starts scratching the ground, so we'll have to maintain a perfect sweet spot between the speed and balance of the machine. But for how long? As we reach what appears to be the end of the line for us, no sign of land but a vast sea spanning hundreds, if not thousands, of miles ahead. With no other option, we head up and signal for help. As the camera pans out, it cycles from day to night, Your machine gives its last breath before turning off, while you stand there, with the flare as the only hope, waiting for someone to come to the rescue. If I were to relate this to anyone's personal life, it would be something like this. We start with a goodbye to something we once held dear. It could be a time at your high school or university, could be a friend's, a loved one, family, something that you held dearly once. Now you have to let go as you embark on your journey. You may have a destination, but you still aren't sure how you'd get there. You just have to travel wherever you find a way to. On that way, you get upgrades in the form of skills. Could be a form of connection with someone in a well established position, or a good business deal, or a coach that is willing to help you to a great extent. But along with those upgrades are challenges: anxiety, depression, loneliness, being stuck at present and not being able to move forward. Yet you overcome it all. Not completely, but enough to keep moving on. You get as many help as you can, wherever you can, and however you can. Till you reach close to your destination, you're put to the final test. Everything you've learned, everything you worked hard for, is now being tested in this final event. You put your all into it. You push yourself to your limits, even exceeding it to a certain extent. The challenge is overwhelming, but you know you have to endure it for a short amount of time. Till you collapse, everything goes blank and silent. You've overcome your challenge, but now you're completely worn out, barely able to move forward, but you still have to. You see your destination close, you know you can make it, till you realized you've hit the end of the road. You've given your best, you've done it all, you made it till the end. As you light up your last hope, everything you've gone through is just the beginning, but this time you're ready to face it all. Even though you're worn out, you now have the experience, the skills, the talent needed to conquer anything that comes in your way. All you need now is a challenge worth your time and efforts. Stay strong, everyone. Don't give up just yet, for the amount of joy you'll receive at the end is much greater than the amount of suffering you're going through right now. I'm wishing you all and Team Okomotive the very best on your journeys, and to Team Okomotive, if they ever watch this video, I thank you for making such a great game, and I'm more excited to try out your next game, Changing Tides. God bless.